But there is something that I've never really talked about publicly because it is difficult for me to talk about. Honestly, I pretty much avoided it in interviews and did my best to hide it. And that's just because I feel like it doesn't define who I am as a person. However, several of you have reached out to me, and some of you have even given me helpful tips or said, I think that you might have this. And I feel like, sorry, I feel like to the people that watch and support me and try to understand me, that I want to be real with you guys. So I have type 1 narcolepsy. And in a nutshell, that basically means that I get super tired a lot. And sometimes my body just wants to take a little break, and sometimes without warning. There's this thing called cataplexy that comes with it. And the best way I could describe it is when you experience strong emotions, like maybe laughing or getting excited, or maybe even surprised, your muscles can go weak, and this can last for just a little while. I'm still totally awake somewhat when this happens, but my body just kind of shuts down for a little bit. It's like my brain and my body are not on the same page. I think I got diagnosed in my early 30s after a sleep test. But before that, people just kind of thought that I was a little odd maybe with my sleep habits. And I think a lot of times people go undiagnosed because of that. I would fall asleep probably at the worst times. I would have night terrors, and I would always feel like extreme exhaustion. But people would often say things like, you need to get more sleep at night, or you're depressed. I don't know. So back to the cataplexy. I think there was a moment in the airport when I was like, I'm not okay, just hold me. And Maddie was like, let's take a seat. Maddie knows that I'm like this. And sometimes when I get really excited or overwhelmed, my body starts to get weak. So he was just kind of there to like catch me and help me through that. And a lot of you guys didn't know that this was something that I was experiencing. Narcolepsy is more than just being tired. So a lot of times people will say things like, I'm tired all the time too, or I take naps all the time too, but it's more than just being tired. Sometimes it comes with things like brain fog or trouble focusing, maybe making deep conversations difficult. And I think sometimes I avoid hard topics or hard conversations sometimes. And I think it's somewhat of a coping mechanism. And I want to note that that's not an excuse for my behavior. But sometimes I try to avoid hard topics altogether, or I just kind of like go stone cold. And I think this is just a way for me to cope with things when I feel overwhelmed. And oftentimes I don't like being put in difficult conversations, especially by people that truly know me, because they know that this can trigger that for me. And if you think that the movies or television in general gets narcolepsy right, then nope, you are wrong. I think they often make narcolepsy out to be kind of like a joke, like someone suddenly dropping to the ground mid-sentence, or that's not really what happens in real life. It's way more complicated than that. And honestly, it's pretty tough for most people that experience it. I've learned that it's okay to nap, and it's best to formulate some kind of schedule, like regular sleep, to help you kind of manage this, as well as like exercise helps. It is a part of my life, but it doesn't define me as a human. So I always say that I have narcolepsy, but I'm not narcolepsy. Anyways, thanks for understanding me a bit more. And if you got to the end of this, thank you for listening. And my hope is that if this helps one person maybe understand some of the things that you might be going through, that you can maybe go get the help you need or get the diagnosis that you need sooner, and that you realize that you can live with narcolepsy, but narcolepsy is not you. Anyway, bye guys.
Bisexual.
I'm too tired.
So, obviously that would explain that little scene in particular. Obviously, he's asking her again, are you bisexual? And her reaction is, I'm too tired. And therefore, she's then unable to answer certain questions due to just how she feels due to her narcolepsy. Now, listen, I'm not going to be here to tell you guys that, how narcolepsy works or anything like that, because clearly she's aware of it. But the only issue is that she came out on social media to explain this side of her life, which respectfully, I appreciate it. It's good to know, obviously other things she's got going on with herself to help us better understand herself. And she also did say that Mahdi understands it, and he's quite sympathetic and sensitive towards it, which is absolutely phenomenal. But the thing is, though, he has asked her how many episodes now, whether she's bisexual or not. You know what I mean? It's like her explaining this doesn't necessarily then explain you know, obviously him always asking her about epilepsy and her always pretty much avoiding the question. And this was the first time she actually responded with the "I'm tired" answer. Obviously, in many of the other scenes, it's just been the fact that she just hasn't answered it. She's laughed it off. She's obviously deflected away from it. So the question is that how much longer does he have to wait for you to answer a simple question? Because he's asked her so many freaking times. And that's the only thing that I want to ask. It's the only thing that I have to say. You know, because at the end of the day, you're saying this man understands this. So that means he has asked you multiple times, in different situations, where he feels as if this isn't when it's going to impact you the most. But regardless of that, you're still avoiding the answer. So I hope that we get an answer in the next episode. I mean, because obviously 9 Day are not obviously known for just dragging the hell out of certain things, you know what I mean? Because, well, if a couple is boring, they don't have much drama, then they try and force much as possible. So there's a chance that maybe she has answered it to him, but it just hasn't revealed to us on the show. Maybe they made it seem as if it took her forever to answer the question, when in reality, maybe she answered it way, way back. I guess that's something that we'll never know, but either way, the matter of fact, we can only go on information that we have, and the information we have is that he has asked you multiple times if you're bisexual and you've not answered it. So for her to use "I'm tired" in that scene regarding her not answering the question, if you ask me personally, it's not good enough because he's asked her a set amount of times. But either way, though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. We'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.